Hello everyone, this is my video on objective truth and chocolate ducks. The context of this video is that I want to establish a mutual understanding of objective truth that hopefully everyone watching could agree upon before discussing literally any topic. So what is the objective truth? Let's start with this spot representing our reality. Now we don't fully understand our reality, so let's let this circle represent all possible realities we could exist in given our current knowledge. Everything outside the circle is impossible. Now pursuing the truth means using our knowledge to reduce the circle and locate our reality. Our diagram shows there are three possible states that a hypothesis can sit in: definitely true, possibly true, and definitely not true. Now every hypothesis starts in possibly true, as does its counter-hypothesis. If you prove a hypothesis definitely true or definitely not true, then you automatically move the counter-hypothesis in the other direction. Why is this important? It's important because we need to establish where the burden of proof lies. The burden of proof is the obligation of the party to produce the evidence that will prove the claims they've made in their hypothesis. Let's have a look at our diagram from before and consider a hypothesis. If I hypothesize ducks are made of chocolate, this automatically creates a counter-hypothesis: ducks are not made of chocolate. With some testing, we can prove beyond reasonable doubt that the first hypothesis is impossible. So our circle shrinks and we can confirm that the second hypothesis sits in our reality. So how does this relate to you? Let's say this circle is your map of possible truth, and you believe that chocolate ducks are part of that. You were brought up believing that, your parents believe that, and you identify as a chocolate ducker. Suddenly, a troublemaker with research and evidence shows you information that proves beyond reasonable doubt that ducks are not chocolate. There are two responses that we might have here. The natural response might be to reject this information. We don't like being wrong, and this new information makes us feel wrong. The other response, however, is to understand that our ideas and hypotheses are not who we are. So it's okay to shrink our circle of possible truths and abandon bad ideas based on new information. This is why it's important to enter discussions with the goal of learning rather than winning. The problem with being wrong is that it feels exactly like being right, until confronted with evidence that your current ideas are wrong. At which point it's important to realise that abandoning our chocolate ducks doesn't make us losers for being wrong, it makes us winners for pursuing truth. This all begs the question of why is the truth so important? Why not remain happily ignorant of the fact that ducks aren't made of chocolate? You're allowed to believe it. You're not hurting anyone. There's one simple reason you should want to pursue the truth though. Improved understanding of the truth leads to improved efficacy. Let's consider leeches as an example. Humanity used leeches to cure diseases for over 2,000 years, based on a false assumption that the diseases were caused by an excess of blood. Thankfully, some inquisitive minds started investigating diseases more thoroughly, which led us to the infinitely more effective treatments of modern medicine today. Speaking of medicine, imagine you're a doctor currently testing patients for a new disease that makes people suddenly burst into confetti. Your test can have two possible results, positive or negative, but your test isn't perfect, so there are two possible errors: a false positive where you think the patient will burst when they won't, or a false negative where you think the patient is fine when they're not. Make no mistake, both of these errors can be dangerous, and can also occur in cases of moral judgment too. Imagine your friend Bob has been accused of a crime. We could find Bob guilty when he's innocent, or we might find Bob innocent when he's guilty. The only way to reduce the probability of these errors is to gather evidence and analyse it. You may be so repulsed by one of these errors that you assume an outcome just to be safe. Say if you do not eat the out-of-date food in case it's poisonous. This can make sense, but it's important to recognise the rising probability of the other error. You may be throwing out perfectly good food. To summarise, all hypotheses start as possible truths open to scrutiny. The burden of proof lies with whoever claims the hypothesis should change state. When presented with new information, it's important to adapt your hypotheses appropriately, and assuming a change of state without evidence carries a cost that we should be aware of. So those were my thoughts on objective truth. Thank you for watching. Unfortunately, I was slightly time constricted when making this video, so I had to gloss over certain points that really deserve more attention. But if you have any other thoughts, please do let me know in the comments.